Guys, welcome back to The Bright Side. Macy here, The Bright Side Girl, and today we're going to be doing some Halloween middle grade book recommendations. As some of you may know, some of my favorite books to read around fall and Halloween are middle grade. This is because I don't like truly terrifying, gory books, and middle grade has the perfect balance of creepy, atmospheric, magical, and just gives me all the vibes that I want. So I have a long list to share with you guys that I think you will really enjoy. I won't be holding up any of the books today because I'm feeling kind of lazy and I don't want to go grab them all, but I'll put the pictures up here for you. So a lot of these books are going to be particularly good for readathons and also for binging on Halloween day. Most of them are going to be between 6 to 3 hours, and if you do double speed like I do, it'll take you half the time. So a lot of times I'll pick a middle grade to just listen to on Halloween day while I'm setting up a party or setting up the candy for outside and all that kind of stuff, and it just kind of starts the day off on a fun foot. Some of these books are my very favorite, so we're just gonna dive right in. A duology that I recently finished is The Dreadful Tale of Prosper Redding by Alexandra Bracken. This is about a middle grade boy named Prosper who finds out that he has a demon living inside him, a curse sent down through the ages through his great-great-great-great-grandfather. His grandfather broke a contract that he had with a demon and kind of cursed the whole family. This demon, Alistair, is an 800-year-old demon who is not in the mood to be forgiving. He is very funny. He kind of comes to Prosper in the form of a fox, and Prosper basically has a few days to try and break this family curse. It's got a lot more detail to it than that, but it's very charming and funny, and just a little bit on the creepy, spooky side. It's perfect for this time of year. I enjoyed both books probably about the same. The audiobook narrator for these is excellent. I really loved him. He's really good at doing the different voices, especially for Alistair the Demon. Quite funny, and this is a book that I think any age can enjoy. Next up, we're going to talk about the Cirque du Freak series. This is becoming one of my favorite series ever. So this is a 12-book middle grade series. I am on book number 4 right now. I was going to try and wrap them up this year, but I want to at least get a couple more in. They're very short books. They're very short audiobooks as well. So this is about a middle grade boy that goes to this magical, weird circus and finds a vampire and stumbles into becoming a vampire's assistant. And so each book kind of has its own journey that you're following with the same characters and new characters that come introduced. It's very creepy and darker than some of the other books that I've mentioned. It's just a tiny bit spookier than the rest of them. It's very intricate. Some of these books I would maybe pre-read if you're going to give them to your middle grader and they're a little bit on the sensitive side, but I still thought it was super fun. It's really clever. You fall in love with the characters. It's got the perfect amount of creepiness for me, and the narrator for these on audio is absolutely amazing, one of the best narrators as well, and you just fly through all of these books. Next up, we have Nightmares by Jason Siegel. This is probably my least favorite on this list, but I wanted to include it because I know a lot of people will love it. Also by Kirsten Miller. So this is really fun on audio as well because it's narrated by Jason Siegel, the author and also the actor, and he is really great at narrating, which is kind of awesome. So Charlie Laird has several problems. His dad married a woman. He is sure moonlights as a witch, and then he had to move into her purple mansion, which is not a place you want to find yourself after dark. Can't remember the last time sleeping wasn't a nightmarish prospect, like even taking a nap. So basically he has all of these issues that happen in his nightmares, and he's trying to figure out whether they're real or not. He thinks his stepmother is a witch. This one was really good, but it had a little bit more sad undertones and a little bit more of Charlie trying to discover himself and make amends with certain things in his life, which isn't my favorite for this time of year. I feel like some middle graders will really appreciate it, but I wanted something that was purely just magical and fun. So I did really enjoy this one. I think I still gave it 3.5 stars. The audiobook is really good, so it's definitely worth checking out. 3 books to recommend to you from Marcy Connolly, who is a new to me author, I think as of last year, that I've completely fallen in love with. She mostly writes middle grade. Her covers draw you in and they're fantastic. So the first one that I read by Marcy is Monstrous. So this is a retelling of Frankenstein, and basically there's this girl and she's kind of got strangeness to her, different parts. I think she has a dragon tail, and she lives in this manor. Her dad tells her to never leave the manor, but when she hears word of girls being taken from the town, she kind of explores out to figure out what's happening and unsolve all these mysteries mysteries. This is a very loose retelling, but I really enjoyed it. It was really, really fun and magical, and just everything you kind of want in a middle grade. I love Frankenstein retellings as well, so highly recommend. Then we have Shadow Weaver. I read the first one last year, and I'm getting ready to read the second one. Emmeline has a gift of controlling shadows. It has isolated her from the rest of the world. She's grown to be content hidden away in her mansion with her Dar, her one shadow, as her only company. But disaster strikes when a noble family visits their home and offers to take her away and cure her of magic. Desperate not to lose her shadow, she turns to Dar, who proposes a deal. Dar will change the noble's mind if Emmeline will help her become flesh as she once was. Emmeline agrees, but the next morning the man in charge is in a coma, and all that the witnesses saw was a long shadow, no one nearby to cast it. To face the punishment, Emmeline and Dar run away. This one just has a really unique premise. I really enjoyed it. Again, the narrator is super good for this one, so it's a good one to try on audiobook. So I highly recommend this one, and I'm excited to read the next one. Next up we have The Night Gardener by Jonathan Auxier. So in this one we're following two abandoned Irish siblings travel to work as servants at a creepy crumbling English manor house. But the house and its family are not quite what they seem. Soon the children are confronted by a mysterious specter and an ancient curse that threatens their very lives. I just thought that was super interesting. I love anything to do with gardening. I love a good creepy house. It's not a scary book at all, but it's definitely got those atmospheric vibes, and it's just a good one to add to your list. Next we have The Witches by Roald Dahl. I did this one on audiobook. I really enjoyed the narrator. So this one's basically about a little boy that discovers that there are these creepy witches, and they dress as like old ladies and they wear gloves. He lives with his grandma, and he kind of gets into some trouble with him and his mouse, and he has to basically defeat the witches. I really enjoyed this book and audiobook a lot. Roald Dahl is just wonderful. I do like this story in the audiobook as well, and it has a really fun ending. Another by Roald Dahl is of course Matilda. This one again is super fun on audiobook because it's narrated by Kate Winslet, who is so magical and just brings the story to life. So Matilda at age 5 discovers that she has magical abilities. Her parents don't really understand what's happening. They're self-centered and they're kind of to themselves. And she has this nightmarish school principal that she has to kind of overcome. And it's basically just her learning how to deal with her magic and everything around her, and it's really wonderful. I love the original movie. I don't know if they've redone it yet or not, but I grew up on this story and it's just a classic. Next up is Coraline by Neil Gaiman. This is probably one of the creepiest ones on this list. This is about Coraline, who moves into a new house with her family and kind of uncovers all of these creepy things that are happening in the house. She basically discovers another world that's better than her own, where she doesn't have to like beg for attention from her parents. She's got these doting other parents, and they're really creepy because they have buttons for eyes, and then she finds out that not everything is greener on the other side. That's a very loose description. So this is just really fun. The audiobook's really fun too. There's little creepy sound effects and things as well. Again, this is like another classic Halloween middle grade book. Next we have The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. This is probably the creepiest book on this list. Again, all of these are pretty mild middle grade books. So this is about Nobody Owns, lovingly referred to as Bod. He was discovered as a baby by a bunch of ghosts in a graveyard when his parents were murdered, and they decided to take him and raise him as their own. So he grew up being raised by ghosts. This is a very loose Jungle Book retelling, and he doesn't really know anything besides this graveyard ghost life. And then when the man that killed his parents comes back around, he has to kind of venture out, make friends, and protect himself and others. And it's just really good, really clever. There are 2 audiobooks for this, both fantastic. Neil Gaiman narrates the original one, who's the author. Amazing, one of the best author narrators ever. And then there's a full cast audio recording that has all different voices, totally suck you in. All the characters and the ghosts are so fun or sweet or whatever, and it's just a really, really good read. Probably one of the best to read on Halloween. Then we have The Spiderwick Chronicles by Tony Ditterlizzi and Holly Black. These are very, very short middle grade chapter book style. I haven't done the audio for these because I physically read them because there's lots of pictures and illustrations and things. So Jared Grace finds his great uncle's book, Arthur Spiderwick's Field Guide to the Fantastic World Around You, and him and his siblings realize they are not alone in their new house. Now the kids want to tell their story, but the fairies will do everything they can to stop them. So they get this field guide and they are able to see all of this magic happening around them, and they kind of have to protect their house and join together as siblings. It's so, so good, and I highly recommend them. You'll want to binge them all. They're very, very short, very quick books, and They're fantastic. Then we have The Gates by John Connolly. This is a trilogy. This is about Samuel Johnson, and when he goes to trick or treat on Halloween with his trusty dachshund Boswell, he finds out that his neighbors have opened a portal to hell. And basically he sets out on a journey to save the town, save the world, and put the demons back in their place. This is a fun, wild ride. It has little footnotes in the story that are great. The narrators are amazing for this one. I haven't finished the third book, but I like the first two. There's two different narrators for each book, and they're really, really good. They just bring the whole story to life. There's all these like funny demons and characters, and it's just really quirky and super, super fun and adventurous, but the right amount of creepy for Halloween as well. And highly recommend adding this one to your list. Then we have A House with a Clock in Its Walls by John Bellairs. This is a new one that I read last year. Again, narrator was totally awesome. So this is about Lewis, who is an orphan, and he comes to stay with his Uncle Jonathan. He expects to meet an ordinary person, but he is wrong. Uncle Jonathan and his next door neighbor, Mrs. Zimmerman, are both magicians. Lewis is thrilled. At first, watching magic is not enough. Then he experiments with magic himself and unknowingly resurrects the former owner of the house, a woman named Selina Izzard. And it seems that Selina and her husband built a timepiece in the walls, a clock that could obliterate humankind, and only the Barnavells can stop it. This is such a good middle grade book. Again, probably one of my top 5 for Halloween. It's got all the Halloween vibes in it. It's just like a little bit spooky, super magical, really, really fun. You love the characters. Audiobook was great. Love. And then lastly, one that I don't really hear anybody talking about is The Water Mirror by Kai Meyer. I haven't done the audio for this one, but I'm getting ready to because I want to finish the trilogy because it's a full trilogy. So this is set in a Venice where magic is not unusual. Merle is apprenticed to a magic mirror maker, and Seraphin, a boy who was once a master thief, works for a weaver, magic of cloth. Merle and Seraphin are used to the mermaids who live in the canals of the city. Beautiful creatures with hideous mouths that split their faces from ear to ear, and used to the guards who patrol the streets riding on living stone lions. Merle herself possesses some magic, a mirror whose surface is water. She can reach her whole arm into it and never get wet. But Venice becomes under siege from different magical creatures, and it's this whole adventure. We got these 2 orphans that we're following, and they have different magical abilities. Super unique, really fabulous, got some darker undertones. It has mermaids in it, which is really great. You know I love that, and definitely recommend this one. I'm excited to try the audio sometime here soon. Okay, you guys, that is it. Let me know if you have read any of these middle grade Halloween books down below in the comments. Let me know what your favorite one is. Let me know which one you're excited to try out. And let me know your favorite middle grade Halloween book down below in the comments because I'm always looking to add more. I have a huge TBR of them as well. I particularly like reading them for readathons because they're so short. So thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys next time on The Bright Side and tomorrow.